They told me the fourth floor was sealed in 1982. I thought it was a local legend. Then I found the elevator key in the maintenance room. Still tagged, still labeled, floor 4, restricted. The elevator opened. The floor was not empty, and whatever had been up there since 1982 knew I had come in. Hargrove Memorial Hospital closed in 1994. It had operated for 60 years in a small town in the rural Midwest. The building has been in legal dispute since it closed. No demolition order, just standing. I had driven past it dozens of times over 3 years. Every local knew the stories. Every local stayed away, not because of the obvious reasons. Unstable structure, asbestos, broken glass. Because of floor 4. The story that circulated was always the same version. In 1982, something happened on the 4th floor of the psychiatric wing. 3 patients, 1 night. No official explanation that anyone outside the hospital ever received. The 4th floor was sealed the next morning. 12 years later, when the hospital closed, it was still sealed. The official records listed it as under renovation, indefinitely suspended, for 12 years. Nobody renovates a floor for 12 years. I went on a Thursday afternoon, not at night. I want to be clear about that. The daylight made no difference. The building absorbed light the way certain places do, like it had been dark for so long that darkness had become structural. Ground floor, 2nd floor, 3rd floor. Each level told the same story. Abandonment preserved in dust and rust. Old equipment, patient files decomposing in filing cabinets. Beds still made. The kind of abandonment that happened fast. On the 3rd floor, I found the maintenance room. The key was on a hook, exactly where it had always been, tagged, labeled. Floor 4, restricted. The tag was dated 1981, 1 year before the floor was sealed. Someone had made this key 1 year before whatever happened. The elevator still worked. I do not know why. The building had no power connection. The elevator worked. I stood in that elevator for a long time before I pressed the button. Floor 4 smelled different. Not the dust and decay of the floors below. Something else. Like the air had been sealed and was only now meeting something outside itself for the first time in 40 years. The hallway stretched ahead. Doors on both sides. All closed. Except one. Room 402. The door was open. Not ajar, not slightly cracked. Open, wide, like someone had just walked through it. I stopped at the doorway. Inside, a hospital room. Bed, chair, window. Standard layout. Except on the floor beside the bed, a candle. Not old wax, not a melted stub. A candle, recently burned, the wax still soft at the edges. Someone had been here recently. I looked at the chair, on the chair, a Bible, leather cover. A hospital Bible, the kind placed in rooms for patients who had none of their own. I picked it up. It fell open. Psalm 91. And in the margin, in handwriting I did not recognize, one line. He was here. He helped. No name, no date. Just, he was here. He helped. I looked at that line for a very long time. Then I looked at the candle. Still warm. Then I looked at the hallway behind me. The door to room 401, which had been closed, was now open. I walked to the elevator. I pressed the button. It opened immediately, like it had been waiting. I spent 3 weeks researching Hargrove Memorial. What happened on floor 4 in 1982 is not in any official record I could access. But a retired nurse, who had worked there from 1975 to 1989, spoke to a local newspaper in 2003. She said the official story was that 3 patients had experienced simultaneous psychiatric episodes. She said the unofficial story, the one that circulated among staff, was different. She said one of the night nurses had reported hearing something in the hallway of floor 4, at 3 a.m. Something she described as a sound with no source and a cold with no explanation. The nurse asked the 3 patients what they had seen. All 3 separately described the same thing, a shape, a darkness, something that stood at the foot of their beds. One of the 3 patients, a woman named Margaret, had not screamed. She had sat up in bed, and she had prayed out loud. Not quietly, clearly, Psalm 91, the whole psalm, out loud, in the dark. The shape, all 3 patients reported, left Margaret's room first. The retired nurse said, Margaret was the calmest person on that floor that night. She said she had simply told it that it had the wrong room, that someone else had already claimed that space. I went back to floor 4, one more time. I stood in room 402. The candle was gone. The chair was empty. The Bible was exactly where I had placed it, open to Psalm 91. I read it out loud, in that sealed room, in that abandoned hospital, to whatever had been there since 1982, and to whoever had left that line in the margin. He helped. I believe that. Not because I can prove it, because I stood in that room in a building that had absorbed darkness for 40 years, and read those words out loud, and the room felt different after. Not empty, inhabited, correctly, by the right kind of presence. They sealed floor 4 in 1982. I found the key, and I found what Margaret left behind for whoever came next. End question. What would you do if you found that Bible in that room?